This breakthrough discovery is setting the weight loss industry on fire. Scientists and nutritionists couldn't believe all these people with weight issues have this one thing in common: the color of their urine. Did you know your urine color determines how easily you gain weight? It all has to do with the amount of water you drink, and why if you exceed this amount of water intake a day, which I'll tell you in just a minute, you could wreck your metabolism. This discovery has some doctors across the nation advising overweight folks not to drink the recommended 8 glasses of water a day. And it's not only drinking water that's a big cause for weight gain. This controversial discovery also uncovers other deadly healthy habits, such as eating certain fruits and vegetables, or even exercising more than a certain amount or intensity. They may be the real culprit behind your stubborn fat, as they can wreck your metabolism. There's only one way to find out if it's the case, and it's all found in this short presentation. And if you are skeptical about how much weight you can lose just by removing these habits, think again. It may sound unbelievable. I personally went from 132 pounds overweight, pre-diabetic, at major risk of a lethal heart attack, to losing 42 pounds of fat, dropping my cholesterol by 300 points, eliminating my blood sugar problems and heart attack risks, and according to my doctor, extended my life by a minimum of 10 years. At the end of this presentation, I'll tell you exactly what I did and give you a protocol you can use immediately, tested and proven to work by more than 79,411 folks, which can help you to shed excess pounds starting today, without prescription medications, restrictive diets, overpriced but ineffective weight loss products, or calorie counting. This protocol will work for people of any age, any body type, and in any state of physical health, because this scientific method is based on sound biology. It's exactly what happened for Jim in Twin Falls, Idaho. He lost more than 15 pounds. He was shocked when the pounds started coming off, as if by magic. Alan from Abilene, Texas, lost 21 pounds. Or Maurice from Port Washington, New York, who used this simple method you are about to discover to lose 27 pounds. Janet from Gulfport, Mississippi. She lost 35 pounds. Not only she lost her unwanted body fat, she also looks way younger now. Here's what Bryce from Fort Myers, Florida says. What you shared in your presentation saved my life, and I'm not being dramatic. Before I watched your video, my doctor said I was 75 pounds overweight and had just been diagnosed with severe type 2 diabetes. I didn't think there was hope, and I thought I was going to die. Even though I was somewhat skeptical at first, you explained the science behind this in such a convincing and easy-to-understand fashion that I'd figured I'd give it a try. That was the best decision I've ever made. It's only been a short period of time, but I've already lost 70 pounds, and incredibly enough, I'm medically no longer even considered a diabetic. I can't believe how powerful this stuff is. Thank you for sharing. Those are just a few of the tens of thousands of real-life success stories I've received, and I'll share a few more with you in a minute. The method I'm about to share is so strange, so effective, and so controversial, you'll never see this on mainstream TV. You'll also find out the vicious lies the $21 billion health industry is feeding you that not only hinders your weight loss efforts, but also wrecks your health. Lies such as why drinking just 8 8-ounce glasses of water per day is one of the fastest ways to accelerate the aging process. The counterintuitive reason why low-calorie dieting practically guarantees that you will keep gaining weight and adding fat to your stomach, even if you work out 5, 6, or 7 times per week. Why you should not exercise for more than 30 minutes a week. Latest research shows exercising more than that actually ruins your metabolism and literally forces fat to stick on you. This fat-destroying protocol I'll reveal at the end of the presentation is scientifically proven to possibly melt away every spare ounce of fat on your body rapidly, dramatically skyrocketing your vitality, energy, and sex drive, significantly lower your risk for major diseases like cancer, heart disease, and type 2 diabetes, and reversing the effects of aging on your body by decades. Just like the 79,411 others who use the method you are about to see in this presentation, and I'll show you proof in just a moment, you'll look, feel, and be fundamentally healthier than you have. And you'll find that all of the symptoms and causes of your most major health conditions, things like type 2 diabetes, heart diseases, high blood pressure, chronic pain, have completely faded away from your body in a manner that's so miraculous, it will make even the most adamant atheist scratching his head, looking up at the sky and screaming with raised fists that there is a God. Now, the secret I'm about to share with you is so simple, so easy to implement in your own life, and so powerful that it probably sounds almost unbelievable when you first hear about it. And you're likely wondering how something like this could possibly exist without you ever knowing about it, right? To be honest, I felt the exact same way when this young scientist first told me about his revolutionary scientific breakthrough. I thought he was just some hotshot PhD who was full of you-know-what, and that there was no way this could be real. But after observing the life-changing effects in my own body and watching more than 79,411 others just like you and me try it for themselves and experience unbelievable, unheard of, and life-saving results, I am fundamentally convinced that what I'm about to share with you will not only give you the tone, lean physique that you've either always wanted but never had, or once had and lost decades ago, but that it can totally revolutionize your health, potentially reversing many medical ailments, conditions, and diseases. But before I do, it's important I tell you who I am, how this works, and why it will not only transform your body, but also save your life. My name is Jack Dale, and I'm 57 years old. This is a picture of me today. And here's a picture of what I looked like 3 years ago. It's a pretty incredible transformation, right? And I'll tell you a secret, not only do I look and feel physically better than I did when I was in my mid-40s, I actually am physically healthier on all accounts. Now, that's not just me being boastful. I recently had a full panel of tests done at the Mayo Clinic, including DNA testing and cellular analysis. And they told me that from a biological, physiological, and cellular perspective, my body was the same as the 31-year-old's. That's a pretty remarkable thing to be told by some of the most respected doctors in the world. But it's even more remarkable when you consider that just 3 years ago, I almost lost my life because of my weight. The emergency room physician told my wife that most likely I only had around a few months left, and that she should start preparing now for what life would be like for our children, and even our grandchildren, after I died. It was one hell of a rude awakening, especially because prior to the incident I hadn't even realized I was in that bad a shape. Sure, I knew I needed to lose a few pounds, that my potbelly was getting a little bigger month after month and year after year. Sure, I'd noticed that my sex drive was falling and that I never had any energy, and that even though I wanted to work out, I felt too lazy and lethargic to even go to the gym in the first place. But I didn't realize things were that bad. It all happened so quickly. The date was July 19th, 2011, and I'd taken our youngest granddaughter, Bernita, out for ice cream. I can still remember how she smiled and laughed as we got out of my truck and walked through the doors of our neighborhood Baskin & Robbins. The way her childish face got so serious as she examined each of the 32 flavors in turn, debating with herself which one she would choose for her special treat. The way she squeezed my hand and said, "Thank you, Grandpa," as I paid the kid at the register for our 2 scoop cones. And I can still remember the look of sheer terror in her eyes as she saw me drop down to one knee and bring my hands to my chest. How she began to scream and cry hysterically as I tried to gasp out that I needed help, but was physically unable to because of the pressure I felt in my throat. The sound of her ice cream splattering to the floor as she dropped her cone and began clutching frantically to me, too young to understand exactly what was happening, but old enough to know that it was something very, very wrong. After that, the next thing I fully remember is waking up in a hospital bed to the sight of my wife and children and grandchildren surrounding me. Their forced smiles and their red, raw eyes, tubes coming out of me, and a scar across my chest from where coronary artery bypass grafting had occurred, so that the doctor could literally jump over my clogged coronary arteries and get blood to my desperately deprived heart. How they hugged me and laughed and pretended everything was going to be okay, even while their eyes betrayed the horrible, gut-sickening realization that they all believed I was about to die. 2 weeks later, as I was leaving the hospital, the chief physician came to see me. I was expecting him to provide some friendly words of encouragement, or perhaps even add another prescription to the more than 10 medications he'd already prescribed. But instead, what he told me terrified me, shocked me, and ultimately saved my life. Even with clot-busting drugs, the blood thinners, the prescription-strength ibuprofen, and everything else we gave you, there is a 97% chance you will not make it more than 6 months, he started. The damage to your heart is simply too great. Your body is simply too damaged, and I don't think any of this can be reversed without some sort of miraculous change. The next heart attack may be your last. I was devastated and in a daze. I asked him if there was any hope at all, anything that could be done. Well, to start, you'll need to lose at least 50 pounds, he said, but you risk starving your body through a diet, which would speed up your decline, So no, not really. Not unless you can find a way to become 10 years younger overnight. I'm sorry. And then that was it. I left the hospital with the death sentence, a ticking time bomb strapped to my chest. How did this happen? That's what I kept asking myself as I lay confined to my bed, too weak to stand for more than 10 minutes at a time. It's not like I'd begun eating more fast food, or that I had become lazier, at least not intentionally, or was a tobacco user, or really anything like that. Instead, around my 50th birthday, it seemed like things in my body just started to change. It started taking me longer to recover from my workouts at the gym and to get out of bed in the morning. My wife and I were having sex less and less often, and it wasn't because of her. It was because I was too tired. And sometimes, this is embarrassing for me to admit, I had trouble standing at full attention when the moment came. And even though I hadn't changed my eating habits and was still exercising 4 to 5 times per week, it seemed like my belly kept getting a little bigger with each passing month. As if my stomach fat was getting more and more stubborn and refusing to leave, while the chest muscles I'd built were turning from rocks to little beanbags, even though I was still lifting regularly. Here's another thing that's kind of embarrassing for me to admit, but I always had been sort of a health freak. Before the heart attack incident, I was trying all kinds of popular weight loss programs, meal plans, diet fads like going low carb and gluten-free. The weight loss programs were all about restricting your diet, counting calories, and starving yourself. Not only did this seem unhealthy to me, but they didn't work at all. I was always hungry, and what I quickly discovered was that these diets put my body into survival mode, where it desperately clung to all of the calories I was taking in and then converted them into fat because it was being deprived of energy, which meant I actually started to gain weight, while my muscles broke down even more quickly because they weren't getting the protein and other nutrients they needed to grow. And not just that, all these different programs sucked the money out of my pockets like a vacuum. And don't get me started about those meal plans, things like Nutrisystems and Weight Watchers. Nutrisystems cost me $284.99 a month, which would have been fine except the meals were tiny, frozen, and tasted like absolute crap. Plus, the actual ingredients in those things are garbage. They're laced with all kinds of preservatives, artificial ingredients, and weird chemicals I couldn't even pronounce. Weight Watchers was based on a stupid point system that was just as bad as any other diet program I'd already tried on and failed. Plus, try feeling not embarrassed after telling a bunch of your friends that you're on Weight Watchers. And finally, I tried all of these more science-based diets, things like gluten-free, low-carb, and the paleo diet. Well, only about 1% of Americans are actually allergic to gluten, and I was one of the 99% who's not, so that did nothing for me. Eating low-carb made me extremely weak and sick. Imagine trying to fill your body with enough energy by stuffing yourself full of meat and fats. Not only that, latest research shows that low-carb diets actually raises your cholesterol. For example, a study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition compared the blood cholesterol levels of individuals on a low-carb diet versus a high-carb diet over a period of 6 weeks. What they found out was that the increase in LDL, which is the bad cholesterol levels, in the low-carb group is 271% higher compared to the high cholesterol group. And this turned out to be a very, very bad thing. As you saw what happened to me, I could have died then and there. It seems ridiculous in hindsight, but if you add up all the special avoidance diets, no one could eat anything. Nothing seemed to be helping me to really lose weight, regain more energy, or even feel better. And the end result of it all was me on the floor of an ice cream shop, clutching my heart and discovering that I was only an inch away from death's door. I felt like giving up. The doctor had told me that there was literally nothing I could do short of losing 50 pounds, which was obviously impossible, or traveling back in time, which was also obviously impossible, unless I happened to make a new friend with the time machine in his garage. So I started getting on the phone, reaching out to my friends and relatives and saying goodbyes. It was so surreal. To have a conversation with some of your lifelong best friends where you essentially tell them that you love them and soon you are going to leave them forever. Or to try explaining to your grandchildren that Grandpa won't be able to see them for much longer, but that they should try to be the best people they can be, to live a moral life, to love God and their country, to be respectful to others, to grow up to make me proud. As they cry and you cry, I felt like I wanted to die right then and there rather than go on watching their suffering. Actually, that's a good place for me to pause for a second because I want to make an important point. I'm not telling you any of this to be a sob story or for sympathy. I'm sharing my story with you because everything happened so fast, even though I didn't really think I was that unhealthy. I thought it was just starting to get old. That's the terrifying thing about aging. There's that ticking time bomb inside of you, and it starts counting down at a faster and faster rate. And whether it's cancer, or a heart attack, or a stroke, or diabetes, or whatever, suddenly, any day could be your last. Over the months that followed, I said my goodbyes. There was phone call after phone call, and friends and family from across the country flew out to see me, perhaps for the final time. More choked-up conversations, more tears, a blacker and blacker mood hanging over my entire house. You get the picture. And that's where my story would have ended if a fateful and unexpected conversation hadn't saved my life. It was September 17th, 2011, and my nephew Stephen had just arrived at our home. As we sat talking, I felt such conflicting emotions, a blend of pride for the man he'd become and bitterness that I wouldn't be alive to see him continue to develop. He told me all about his young family, how he just bought a house, how he was already planning for retirement, and all about his work as a newly minted PhD and biologist at one of the top universities on the West Coast and working at a medical research facility, the things he was studying, the discoveries he was making, how much he loved his work. As the conversation winded to the end, he asked me the hard questions. Wasn't there anything that could be done? Wasn't there any hope? But I just told him what the doctor has already told me. Lose 50 pounds without exercising and without starving myself. Become 10 years younger. Things that were impossible because of my deteriorated physical state. And while I expected to just nod in understanding and to say he was sorry, what he said next caught me completely off guard. I don't think that's impossible at all. It was just 7 words, but they made me quick to anger. It was impossible, especially in my physical condition, especially with maybe a month or so left, especially because unless we're talking about a science fiction novel, you can't turn back the hands of time, and especially because I'd already tried every way possible to regain my health, 0 results. But even as I told him all of that, his expression still didn't change. Hear me out, he said. There's something I've been working on, and I think it could save you. He then proceeded to tell me about an extremely controversial theory he was developing. Stephen believed that there were 3 common health and wellness myths that virtually everyone has been tricked into thinking are indisputable fact, but that are absolutely and severely poisoning their health while sending their bodies and metabolisms into a horrific state of shock. The first myth, according to Stephen, has to do with our diets. Specifically, it has to do with the way both our misguided insistence on counting calories and following ultra-restrictive weight loss plans, and the way we're constantly being told to consume so many supposed health foods like fresh nuts and vegetables, are actually slowing our metabolism to a crawl, while putting us at risk of many of the most dangerous, deadly, and irreversible diseases known to mankind. Now, at first, this might sound counterintuitive. After all, why would eating less health foods and consuming more calorie-rich foods actually help us to lose weight and be healthier? Well, as Stephen explained, when it comes to dieting, you are by definition severely limiting the amount of nutrients that enter your body. This forces your body into starvation and shock, where it becomes highly stressed and immediately stores whatever calories you do consume as fat so that it has an emergency supply for later. But that's just the tip of the iceberg, because also inherent in almost every diet is the edict that you increase the amount of fresh fruits and vegetables you eat. Everyone wants to tell you that more fresh fruits and vegetables are essential to healthy living. The problem, Stephen said, is that following this advice is one of the most surefire ways to put your metabolism in slow motion while increasing body fat and damaging your cells. The reason why, he explained, has to do with your thyroid. The thyroid plays a huge part in the regulation of your body's metabolism as well as the growth and health of your cells, and even your body's temperature. And when your thyroid doesn't function properly, it can't fuel your metabolism like it should, which means the calories inside the foods you consume are stored as fat instead of being converted into energy. The problem is that while fruits and vegetables do contain vitamins and some fiber, they are also low density, low energy, and don't have many of the essential nutrients your thyroid needs to function properly. To take just one comparison here, if you look at the nutritional content of a 100 gram of blueberries versus a 100 gram of beef liver, you quickly discover that beef liver has at least a dozen times more vitamin A, vitamin E, vitamin B12, folate, calcium, potassium, iron, and zinc than does that little blue superfruit. So the issue is that by obsessing over fruits and veggies and reducing your intake of foods that are high in protein, fat, carbs, starches, salt, and even calories, you are depriving your thyroid of the nutrients it needs to function properly. Not only does this lead to calories not being turned into energy, fat being stored rather than burned and you constantly feeling exhausted. It also means the toxins and other cancer and disease-causing free radicals that enter your body never get broken down. That brings us to the second deadly myth you've been force-fed for your entire life: that you need to be exercising 4 to 5 times per week to stay healthy and skinny. When you exercise, you burn energy. That's what exercise is. The problem is that exercise also places a tremendous amount of stress on your metabolism. That's because when it comes to running or lifting weights, the harder you work out, the harder your metabolism has to work to keep up with you. So if you're constantly hitting the treadmill, your metabolism is constantly having to be in overdrive. When that happens, it doesn't get the chance to rest or heal, and instead you guessed it, kept in a constant state of shock. And that, of course, brings us to the third completely misguided and deadly myth that health and wellness experts have been forcing down your throat: hydration. If you've ever tried to follow the recommended guidelines and drink 8 8-ounce glasses of water per day, you've probably quickly found that doing so requires you to drink a lot of water when you're not even thirsty. Do you know of another animal on the planet that drinks water when it's not thirsty? Neither do I, and neither did Stephen. We are told that our pee should be clear, but every other creature on the planet has yellow urine. If an animal pees clear, a veterinarian would think that the animal is very sick. When you consider the above, it kind of makes sense why drinking 8 glasses of water is a completely misguided approach. It's a classic one-size-fits-all solution to an infinitely complex issue, and it doesn't take into account body weight, health, or your level of daily activity. And in most cases, they are leading to massive overhydration, which, yet again, places an incredible amount of stress on your body, sending it into shock mode. And when your body is in shock mode, cells get damaged. Your metabolism slows down. Cells get damaged, and you get fat and sick. Ultimately, this idea of shock was at the core of everything Stephen was saying. Whether it's going on an extreme diet, overloading on fruits and veggies, hitting the treadmill for a seemingly innocent 4 times per week, or even just drinking glass after glass of water, all of these tiny little things add up over time. They keep your metabolism in a subpar state, where it struggles to function like it should and ends up damaging yourself. And they make it impossible to lose the weight you want to, or regain your youthful vitality, or even to stave off disease. Well, the more I thought about everything Stephen had just told me, the more sense it made. It explained why my diets always failed. After all, I was constantly counting calories and starving myself. Then clearly my metabolism didn't have any energy to burn in the first place. Plus, almost every single diet or healthy eating plan in existence tells you to eat more fruits and vegetables. Hell, I'd certainly done just that. But all I was really doing was depriving my thyroid and metabolism of the nutrients they needed to function properly. Obviously, that also explained why I always felt bloated as I forced myself to drink glass after glass of water, even when I wasn't thirsty at all. And why the more I worked out at the gym, the less energy I seemed to have. The more difficult I found focusing and concentrating the next day. The more my body ached. So yeah, it all made sense, except there was a pretty big red flag, at least from my perspective, because, and as I told Stephen, what the hell did any of it matter? I had maybe a few more months to live, and so sorry not to be a jerk, but I wish you had told me this like 3 years ago. Thankfully, my nephew must have inherited a strong sense of patience and compassion from my sister, because for a second time that day he minded my outburst without so much as a flinch. It matters, he said, because you still have time to reverse this. I promise. With that, Stephen walked out of the room and didn't return to see me for 2 days. And when he did, he was carrying a small yellow legal pad containing about 15 pages. He said inside those pages was everything I would need to repair the cells in my body and turn my metabolism back into the raging furnace it once was. He called it his drug-free prescription, and he made me swear that I would follow it after he had left. Well, if I'm being completely honest, what he wrote down wasn't even really that complicated, and trying it seemed kind of pointless anyways as I was about to die. But then what other options did I have? What else was I going to do with my final month anyways? Lay in bed heaving, popping 10 different medications that weren't working, and try to count the bed sores that were popping up all over my body? And so, despite my reservations, I started reading through Stephen's plan. I committed to following it, and I waited to die. But 4 days into Stephen's prescription, something weird happened. I slept through the entire night and woke up feeling more energized and alert than I had in months. In fact, I felt so good that I even got out of bed, went into the kitchen, and started cooking a surprise breakfast for my wife. Now don't go rolling your eyes here because no, I wasn't miraculously cured, and it was only a few minutes until my completely unamused wife was marching me back to bed and berating me for being an idiot. She was right, by the way, and I soon got stuck with a wave of exhaustion and slept for 6 more hours. But still, it was a surprising development, and I couldn't help but wonder if Stephen's plan might have something to do with it. Well, as the days went by, it started becoming more and more likely that Stephen just might be onto something. I was sleeping through the nights, I was waking with more energy, and it was lasting longer. I started feeling more and more mentally focused, even with all of those stupid medications floating around inside my body. And this was the most interesting part of all. Even though Stephen's plan had me eating fewer salads, fruits, and other bland foods that society's been telling us we should be shoveling into our mouths in droves, and more foods with a higher salt content, with more starch, with more fats, I actually began losing weight at an accelerated rate. But even with this rapid weight loss, I didn't feel tired. That was what was incredible. I was having more energy, feeling stronger, looking healthier, and yet I was drinking sweet tea, tearing into beef jerky, scooping down bowls of ice cream, basically doing all the things you'd think someone who'd recently had a massive heart attack should absolutely avoid. And as you can well imagine, at first my wife was furious that I was doing this. She wouldn't even get me the foods I wanted, so I had to get one of my neighbors to go off to the grocery store and sneak me the stuff Stephen had prescribed to me when she wasn't around. But as she saw firsthand the way my body was rapidly transforming, how I was getting out of bed and spending hours on my feet without getting tired or struggling to breathe, how my physique was actually getting more defined, even though I wasn't exercising whatsoever, she eventually came around and started making those trips to the grocery store for me, grabbing the Gatorade, steaks, and other surprising foods I'd requested. And then, on October 27th, 2011, I got the best news of my entire life. My wife had driven me to the hospital, and my attending physician was running through a whole battery of tests. The first thing he said was that I actually looked pretty good, and that he was surprised by this. But his initial surprise was nothing compared to the absolute shock he experienced as he viewed my test results. "I don't understand," he began. "This doesn't make sense. Your blood pressure is 110/80. That's literally the ideal blood pressure, but it's typically only found in kids and 20-something. Your resting heart rate is about 50 BPM, which is something we typically only see in professional athletes. Your LDL or cholesterol level is about 70, which is again just about as perfect as you can get. And you've lost 53 pounds, but you don't look starved or emaciated or sickly. You actually look dramatically healthier. None of this makes sense. We need to run more tests." And so run more tests he did, but the results just kept him flabbergasted. The ultrasound showed that my heart was completely normal. All of the restricted blood flow had disappeared. My arteries were naturally becoming unclogged, and most incredibly, the actual muscle tissue in my heart seemed to be repairing itself. "Do you pray?" the doctor asked, because I don't have any other way to describe this besides a miracle. Well, the last month I was supposed to live came and went. Then so did another month and another month and another month. Soon, I was off all of my medications entirely. The only time I spent in bed was at night when I slept, and my body was pulsing with energy. I felt strong. My physique was more toned than it had been since I was 30 years old. My sex drive was like a roaring jet engine, and in every measurable way, I was not just back to normal, but actually physically healthier than 98% of the population. And 2 days before Christmas, on December 23rd, 2011, I took my granddaughter, Bernita, back to the ice cream shop where I'd collapsed just 6 months before. I held her hand as we both ate our double scoop cones and hugged her as the tears streamed down her little cheeks, and she said, "I was so scared, Grandpa. I love you so much." Friends and family alike were amazed by what had happened. They called me and asked me what my secret was, if there was some sort of experimental medication I had taken. Many of them had their own health conditions they were scared about, things like high cholesterol, diabetes, high blood pressure, etc. Others simply were struggling with their weight. They had been putting on pounds for years, their stomachs were swelling, diets weren't working, and they were tired of feeling unattractive and out of shape. So with Stephen's blessing, I began to share the drug-free prescription he'd given me with dozens of friends and family members, and then soon their friends, and their friends' friends. Suddenly, there were hundreds of people doing the exact same thing I'd done, and across the boards, their results were the same. A dramatic reduction in body fat, an incredible increase in energy, optimal readings for all their vitals, perfect health. And as I received emotional call after emotional call from both people I knew well and complete strangers, thanking me for sharing this plan with them and for changing their lives, it became clear that I had a new calling in life, to get this newfound health knowledge with as many people as possible. Because really, I shouldn't have even been alive. What Steven gave me saved my life, and I have to be pretty ungrateful SOB if I didn't pay it forward and help others to beat the odds and regain their health, their vitality, and their youth. Steven and I discussed the best way to get his prescription out to the public. He approached universities with a detailed scientific analysis of what he discovered and used me and other people as case studies of its effectiveness. The biology and medicine department chairs both told him it was amazing, but that they couldn't publish it or even support him because even though his total wellness theory had been proven in hundreds of instances, it didn't recommend taking any medication. We guessed that 95% of their funding came from the pharmaceutical conglomerates. They just couldn't risk angering the corporations and having their financial lifeline be cut off. Well, that sure made us mad. I mean, furiously mad. How dare they suppress something that could save millions of lives both right now and over the course of years by preventing heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and other serious diseases associated with being overweight. We thought about trying to sell it to one of the weight loss corporations since they might do a better job of marketing it and getting the word out. The Jenny Craigs, the Weight Watchers, the Nutrisystems of the world. But there was no way they would want this because it wasn't set up to create recurring income for them. It was set up to give people the tools they needed to stay healthy. And if they were to promote something like this, it would kill their businesses and topple their empires. That really left only one viable option, which was to take this directly to the public. So Steven and I got to work. We took his yellow notepad prescription and turned it into a fully organized, simple-to-follow total wellness guide. We made a list of dozens of surprising foods you should be adding to your diet right now if you want to lose weight, repair damaged cells, and reverse the effects of aging. And a list containing all of the supposed health foods that are secretly destroying your health, the absolute worst fruits and vegetables, beverages, even meats. Plus, we added recommended daily servings for each of these, effectively creating a new food pyramid, something that's sure to piss off everyone from big agriculture to Dr. Atkins, but that is essential to your long-term health. Of course, we didn't stop there. Beyond just listing out the good and bad foods you need, we also created a 30-day kickstart plan. A specific schedule containing the foods and drinks you should consume on a regular basis and in what quantities and portions if you want to lose 30 pounds or more. Everything is presented in a step-by-step fashion. It's easy to understand, and we give you all of the science behind what we're doing. We also give you several home tests that you can perform to personally monitor your health and the current state of your metabolism without having to pay a single cent to the doctor's office or your insurance companies, using just a few tools from your local pharmacy that cost less than $15. We've nicknamed this guide the Weight Dissolver Program. And out of more than 79,000 others just like you have tried it for themselves, the average first-month weight loss is about 37 pounds. People like Derek Rudd of Las Cruces, New Mexico, who lost 41 pounds. And Barrett Myrtle in Spokane, Washington, who lost 46 pounds. And Kathy Goodson of Reno, Nevada, who lost more than 53 pounds. It's important to understand, however, that this isn't just about a quick fix. Yes, you will lose weight, repair damaged cells, and rejuvenate your body rapidly. But the program is also designed to make 100% certain that you keep that weight off. That's actually what makes Steven's prescription so unique and special. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach to your health. We simply give you the tools and knowledge you need to achieve your optimal level of health. We show you the why and the how and let you approach your health in the way that works best for you. That's also why we give you those tests, so you can monitor your own metabolic rate and internal health on your own and make adjustments to your diet as you see fit. There's no calorie counting or meal portions or other harsh rules that you have to follow. There's no point system or massive list of restricted foods. There's no monthly subscription or prepackaged frozen meals to buy or junk-filled supplement plans. And there's certainly no extreme exercise plan because, like we've already discussed, exercising for more than 30 minutes or so a day, a few days a week, will deplete your energy and starve your body of the nutrients it needs to thrive. So if you just want to burn away 7 pounds of belly fat, you'll find out how to adjust your diet to do just that inside. Or if you need to lose 70 pounds, you'll find out how to adjust your diet to do just that too. And even if you're not interested in weight loss, but just want to feel healthier, repair your cells so that they can destroy the free radicals that are aging you and put you at the risk of deadly diseases, Weight Dissolver will tell you exactly what you need to do in order to make that happen. So, given everything that's above, it should be pretty clear that there's nothing else like the Weight Dissolver program on planet Earth. It's a fully loaded chest that's filled with the tools you need to not only quickly lose weight and regain your physique, but completely turn around your entire health, even if you think you are in a bad shape. Of course, that's not to say that there aren't other options out there, but think about those for a second. You could continue to try every new fad diet that hits the marketplace, but the simple fact is none of these work. It's why the average person tries 4 to 5 diets per year and fails. You could count calories and starve your body into survival mode, where, by the way, it will start hoarding the few bits of nutrients that do enter your body and store them as fat to be used at a future date. Or start ordering salads every time you go out to eat and having a bowl of fresh fruit in the mornings when you wake up. I used to think that was a great idea until I realized that doing this was wrecking my metabolism. You could spend $200 per month on tiny, frozen, and unsatisfying meals from companies like Nutrisystems, but these programs depend on you continuing to order their products month after month, year after year, which means $2,400 per year spent on incomplete, unhealthy nutrition. Oh, right. Then there are weight loss pills, because tricking your body into thinking it's not hungry or pumping your heart rate up to crackhead levels is a really good idea, right? Of course not, and you already know it. All of the weight loss pills on the market are nothing but neatly packaged drugs. Nutraceuticals spend billions per year marketing their latest and greatest product to you, until suddenly people start dying, and the FDA pulls them off the market, a la ephedra, fen-phen, DMAA, and sibutramine. Finally, you could have your doctor keep prescribed more and more medications for your cholesterol, your blood pressure, your thyroid, and your circulation. Do that, and you suddenly become a walking tub of chemicals. And as each medication comes with a ridiculous list of side effects, you'll soon find yourself on a vicious cycle of adding medication after medication. Think I'm being dramatic? The ASCP estimates that the average 80-year-old takes about 18 prescription medications per year, and you can be damn sure they didn't start out with 18 of those medications. They just kept snowballing. And then there's the Weight Dissolver program. You aren't subject to strict rules. You don't starve yourself. You don't take pills or medications. You don't become a gym rat. You simply follow the simple biology-based guidelines inside. Add more of the foods you want to be eating back into your diet. And considering that Stevens and my program has already been validated both by the scientific community and by more than 79,000 others just like you, it should be pretty clear why when we first bought it to market, we thought about charging $297 for access to it. After all, that's dramatically less than what you'll pay for a year's worth of doctor's visits, prescription meds, and health insurance premiums. It's much less than what you'd pay for a single month on a meal plan like Nutrisystems. It's even less than what you'd pay for just 5 personal training sessions. And yet once you have access to the program, the food lists, the 30-day Kickstart plan, the simple and unrestricted healthy eating guidelines, the home wellness tests, all of which are completely scalable to your specific needs, you will enjoy much better health. You will lose as many pounds as you want to. You will reverse the effects of aging on a cellular level. You will reduce your risk of weight disease by 90% or more. And that's not even mentioning the things that can't be measured in money. The security and comfort of knowing that you'll be there for your spouse, your children, even your grandchildren for decades to come. That you can have the health to retain your independence well into your 80s, 90s, perhaps even at the age of 100, while enjoying the golden years you've earned, taking incredible vacations, visiting family, pursuing all of your hobbies. And while you're doing all of it, you won't look or feel old. People will be coming up to you and asking, "What's your secret?" And the answer, you're lying when you tell them your real age, like you're a prankster who's having a laugh at their expense. But you'll know the truth, and so will the ones who depend on you with their lives. So yes, we think $297 is a steal, and a lot of people have written us saying we should be charging a lot more. But you know what? This isn't about money. The Weight Dissolver program that Stephen gave me saved my life. I should be dead, rotting in the ground 6 feet under right now. But instead, I've been liberated from every single major health concern I had. I'm having the best sex of my life, and according to some of the best doctors in the world, what kind of man would I be if I tried to get rich off a second chance at life? How could I look at myself in the mirror? I couldn't, which is why you're not going to have to pay anywhere close to $297 to get your hands on the Weight Dissolver program today. In fact, you won't even have to pay $197 or $97, which is less than the cost of 2 personal training sessions or 2 weeks at Nutrisystems. Instead, when you say yes to the Weight Dissolver program today and you make the commitment to save your own life while regaining the physique and vitality you haven't experienced in a while, you'll simply be asked to help cover our administrative, website maintenance, and distribution costs. By investing a meager $67 in your permanent health and wellness. Want to make that decision today and to be given a simple, easy-to-follow, and scientifically backed way to rapidly lose weight? Act now by clicking the Add to Cart button below. As soon as you've hit that button, you'll be taken to our secure checkout page, and once you've entered your information, you'll gain instant access to the entire Weight Dissolver program. You'll be able to view the food lists, the guide, the 30-day fast start plan, and everything else right from your computer, tablet, or smartphone without waiting weeks for things to arrive in the mail. You can download all of the materials or even print out as many copies as you'd like and begin the program 5 minutes from now. The path leading to your health and wellness is just 30 seconds away, and all it takes is the click of a button. So go ahead and make your move now. And if you're still feeling hesitant, there's one other thing I should mention to you. Your investment today is covered by a 100% 60-day money-back, no questions asked guarantee. I realize that telling you that you should be eating less fruits and veggies, drinking less water, going to the gym more, while adding more salt, starch, and fat to your diet sounds pretty damn crazy. And even though 79,411 others just like you have already tried this mad method and shed their unwanted body fat successfully, that you still may need a little push in the right direction. Stephen and I both know that this can be the single most important decision you ever make in your life, and we could never live with ourselves if we didn't do everything within our power to get it into your hands, which is why all we ask is that you say maybe to the Weight Dissolver program right now by pushing the Add to Cart button you see below this text. Then go get your instant access to the guide, the lists, the quick start plan, everything. Start following it. Find out what foods you need to take out of your diet, which ones you need to add. Find out how much water you really should be drinking each day, and get the simple home test that will monitor your health and results, forcing you to stick yourself with needles or do blood work or be stuffed in an MRI. Experience the transformation for yourself. Take a full 2 months to try this out for yourself. And if for any reason you're not satisfied or you see the pounds drop off and your youth rapidly restored, simply send an email to the address we'll give you in the members only area, and we will immediately refund you the amount you invested within 24 hours with no questions asked. We're taking all of the risk here, and you're reaping all of the benefits, and that's fine. This is about reclaiming your life, and if on the extremely low chance you're not happy, we don't want you to pay a single dime. The choice should be an easy one, but we can't guarantee how long this website will remain up, so get started now by clicking the Add to Cart button below, which means that if you're ready to stop dieting, stop calorie counting, stop wasting your life at the gym, stop being a slave to your medications, you must act now by clicking the Add to Cart button you see below this text. This presentation is about to end. There's only a few seconds to make this 100% risk-free decision, and ultimately, whether or not you want to reclaim decades of better health is something only you can choose. You could just let this presentation end and then click away without trying Weight Dissolver for yourself. That's fine, and it's certainly your right. But if you make that decision, what's going to change? Are you going to try another diet that doesn't work? Clearly, none of these diets really work in the long run, or you wouldn't be seeing a new health craze sweeping our nation every couple of years, making empty promises to succeed where the last one failed. Are you going to keep exhausting yourself at the gym without the results you want? Waking up feeling tired every morning with aching joints and a fog around your brain? How will you lose the weight you need to? How will you repair the damaged cells inside your body? Will you decide to just do nothing at all and let your health remain a ticking time bomb? Something that will blow up in your face at any second, just like what happened to me. None of these options are real solutions, and you already know it, which is why you need to click Add to Cart below and try the Weight Dissolver program for yourself right now, 100% risk-free. Get the guides, the food lists, the quick start plan, the home test, everything. See how easy it is to burn away the fat that's been clinging to your body for years, to turn your metabolism into a Formula One race engine, to maintain healthy cellular levels that can fight disease, delete free radicals, and make you feel decades younger. The choice is yours, but you already know what you need to do. To a long and healthy life. Jack Dale. Still here? That's okay. I know that we covered a lot of stuff in this presentation and that you may still have some questions about what you just saw. To make things easier for you, I'll go ahead and take a few seconds now to answer some of the most common questions people ask me about the Weight Dissolver program. 1. How is it possible that eating less fruits and vegetables, drinking less water, and eating more salts, fats, starches, and sugars can actually help me to lose weight and become healthier? Well, like I mentioned during the presentation you just saw, a lot of these health foods actually cause shock and trauma to your metabolism and your thyroid because they don't contain the nutrients they need to function properly. That means they can't convert the food you eat and the drinks you drink into energy. Instead, all of the calories you consume get stored as fat. and all of the excess toxins and free radicals leaks back out into your body, where they promote the rampant growth of disease. That's why if you really want to rev up your metabolism, you need to balance the metabolism inside your body. That means eating foods that are more diverse in nutrients and that help with cellular absorption. Salty foods are great for this, as are starches and even certain types of fats. It might sound weird to hear that eating fat can help you burn fat, but that's exactly what I'm saying. Because remember, you don't get fat by eating fat. You get fat because your metabolism doesn't have the energy it needs to break down that fat. Certain fats, especially trans fats, are like rocket fuel for your cells. They provide the energy needed for your metabolism to burn hot, which in turn allows you to burn away those excess pounds. Plus, and this is important, having properly balanced metabolism means your cells are fully functioning and not damaged. That's big time because damaged cells can't fight off toxins and free radicals, which puts your body at risk of developing other serious diseases. 2. Who will this program work for? The Weight Dissolver program can help anyone at any age to lose weight. There's no dangerous medications or food deprivation here. Instead, it's just about adding more of the foods you love and less of the foods you'd rather not be eating anyways. And of course, it's about doing that in an intelligent fashion. 3. So is this a weight loss program or what? Yes and no. You will lose weight on this program, but that's not all. Because you'll be undergoing a fundamental transformation, your cells will be healed, your body will become stronger, you'll be measurably healthier, and you'll even be psychologically younger. So in other words, weight loss is just one of the many benefits you can expect. 4. What's included in this program exactly? Inside, you get a comprehensive list of foods that you can add to your diet to balance your metabolism and reduce internal shock. You also get a list of foods that you should probably be cutting back on. Beyond that, you get specific recommended daily serving sizes for everyone and a 30-day quick start that leads to an average weight loss of 12 pounds if you use it. You also get a series of home tests that you can do for free and that will help you monitor your metabolic rates and whether or not your internal levels are balanced. But the best part about all of this is that there's no one-size-fits-all thing here. Instead, you're being shown the why behind everything, and you'll get the tools you need to make intelligent decisions about what to eat and not eat, based on the current internal state of your body. 5. What happens after I click Add to Cart? Once you've clicked the Add to Cart button that's right below this text, you'll be taken to the secure checkout page. Just enter your information and you'll then be given instant access to the entire Weight Dissolver program. You can view all of the materials, the lists, the guides right on your computer, tablet, or smartphone. You can also download everything and print out as many copies as you'd like. 6. Tell me about that guarantee again. Sure, because this program saved my life and I truly believe it can give you back decades of healthy living as well, I want to make it as easy as possible for everyone to get their hands on it. And that means removing all of the risk so that it's a no-brain decision for you. So once you've clicked that Add to Cart button below, you get a full 60 days to try the program out for yourself. And if you're not satisfied for any reason whatsoever, you simply send me an email and I'll refund the entire investment today with no questions asked. 7. How long will this program be available for? That's hard to say. Obviously, Stephen and I want to keep this presentation online as long as possible, and we want to help as many people as possible. So in other words, if you're ready to change your life, you have to act right now. 8. Okay, I am indeed ready to change my life. What's the next step? Simply click the Add to Cart button below now. Get the entire program and be protected by a 60-day 100% money-back guarantee. You have absolutely nothing to lose but your entire life to regain.